You know, in a world that is obsessed with quick fixes, we are all tempted by the easy way out. Especially when you're facing deep spiritual challenges, right? The promise of an instant solution can feel like a lifeline. But what if that shortcut is actually a cleverly disguised trap? Let's dig into the hidden danger of the quick fix.
I mean, really think about it. When you're in a tough spot, maybe a financial crisis, a health scare, have you ever felt that desperate pull for any solution, anything at all, just to make the pain stop? It's a totally universal feeling, and it's that exact impulse that we really need to take a closer look at.
So, what is the big allure? Well, it pretty much boils down to impatience and pressure. We want miracles, and let's be honest, we want them now. And when we feel like God is moving too slowly, we get tempted to look for help from, well, other sources. We start trying to force our own timetable onto a divine one.
This slide here captures such a powerful idea that adversity can actually become our master. When a problem just consumes our peace and our joy, it starts calling the shots. It basically pushes us into this state of servitude, making us so desperate that we'll accept relief from any source, no matter what the hidden cost might be.
And this brings us right to the central metaphor for our explainer today, the fig tree solution. This idea goes all the way back to the very beginning, to the story of Adam and Eve in the garden, and it is such a powerful image for understanding the kind of counterfeit help that so many people are still reaching for today.
So, what is it, exactly? Well, after Adam and Eve sinned, their very first instinct was to cover their newfound nakedness with fig leaves. It was a quick, man-made attempt to hide their problem. So, a fig tree solution, then, is any counterfeit, temporary fix we use to cover up a spiritual issue without ever dealing with the root cause. It's a solution that comes from a source outside of God. And wow, this just illustrates the difference perfectly. God rejected their fig leaf covering. So why? Just look at this comparison. The fig leaves were man-made. They were temporary. They would just wither and dry up. And crucially, they were bloodless. God's solution? He provided coats of skins. This was God-made, it was lasting, and it involved the shedding of blood, which points to a much, much deeper principle of sacrifice.
But listen, this isn't just about solutions that don't work. Choosing the counterfeit path is incredibly dangerous. These quick fixes always come with a hidden and very, very high price.
This right here is the first part of that price. The source material puts it so starkly, it's like trading a migraine for cancer. You might get some temporary relief from one problem, but you've just signed up for a much deeper, more destructive issue down the line. It's a totally deceptive exchange where you always lose.
And here's the second part of that price. See, the devil has no free gifts. When you turn to these other powers for help, you are literally entering into a covenant, an agreement, and sooner or later, that power will come back to collect. That quick fix you got was just a down payment on future misery.
Okay, so what are some of these modern fig leaves? As you can see here, they can take a whole lot of different forms. This could be seeking guidance from sources that are not God, relying on objects like charms for protection, or even getting involved with groups that have hidden spiritual loyalties. All of these are counterfeit coverings.
And get this, here's a fascinating story from our source material that shows that even the people practicing these counterfeit solutions know their own limits. A man, just overwhelmed with problems, went to a herbalist looking for a quick fix. But the herbalist took one look at him and sent him away, admitting that the power behind the man's problems was stronger than anything he could possibly deal with. Even he recognized a higher authority.
So this leads us to the only real way forward. If covering the symptoms with fig leaves doesn't work, what does? We have to stop just trimming the leaves and start attacking the root of the problem.
This tree analogy is honestly the perfect way to visualize it. The leaves and branches, those are the symptoms we see. Bad habits, sickness, constant failure. The stem is the obvious problem. But the real issue, the thing that keeps the whole tree alive, is the root system, hidden deep underground. If you only cut the branches, the tree will just grow back. True freedom means you have to deal with the root.
And please, don't underestimate how critical this is. The source material states that a staggering 90% of our problems, spiritual or physical, can be traced back to a faulty foundation. 90%. That's almost everything. This is exactly why surface-level solutions are just doomed to fail. We have to go deeper.
So the real alternative to a superficial fig leaf fix is what our source calls deep deliverance. This isn't about just patching things up. It's about allowing what the Bible calls God's axe to get to the very root of the problem. It's harder, for sure, but it is the only path to lasting change. So if we reject the man-made covering of fig leaves and we commit to dealing with the root of the problem, what's the final, authentic solution? What is the one and only true covering that God provides?
This is the ultimate test. It's the filter through which every single proposed solution must pass. If a solution or a power or a practice is opposed to or tries to replace the sacrifice and power of the blood of Jesus, you can know for certain that it is a counterfeit. It's a fig leaf.
And this brings our entire explanation full circle. Remember that comparison? The fig leaves were bloodless and temporary. The covering from God involved blood and was permanent. The blood of Jesus is the ultimate God-made covering. It's the only power that can truly cleanse, provide lasting protection, and break the very covenants we may have made when we sought those dangerous quick fixes.
So as we close, here's a question for you to really reflect on. What is one fig leaf in your life? One area where you've been tempted to just cover up a problem instead of letting God get to the root of it. What would it look like to abandon that shortcut and start building on a foundation that will actually last? It's definitely a question worth asking.